All right, welcome to the show. When the most people think of harp, they probably picture classical concerts or maybe an angel sitting on the cloud. Our guest today took that idea, plugged it into an amp, and made it one of the most coolest sounds in the independent music scene. She's a singer, a composer, an educator, and a founder. So many hats she wears at different times. Um, but the instrument she is most known for is the harp, which has one of the most ancient and magical sounds in all of music that you have heard. For a show that's all about sound, I'm talking none other than Nush Lewis. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And can you just describe that first moment when you heard the instrument?
Yeah.
And you were like, okay, this is what I want to play.
I definitely remember the first time I heard it. And this was actually when I joined music school in Chennai at the KM Conservatory.
Oh.
It was I was the second batch at KM Conservatory. And this particular day was the graduation of the first batch was happening. And it took place at the Music Academy in Chennai. AR was also there. It was his school. It
Yeah.
was his first batch that he was seeing out. And the faculty of the school was performing at the end. So they had student performances, all of that. And at the end, the faculty performed. From our faculty, our music theory teacher, Alison Maggart, she performed a harp solo piece. I don't know what she played or anything, but I remember the visual of it because I was sitting in the auditorium.
Correct.
And just seeing this magnificent instrument. One spotlight, she just came, she explained what she was going to be playing, she performed it for us, and she walked off stage. And I remember just because also I think to my memory, and I will check with Alison about this, but
Yeah.
to my memory, it was not a very traditional classical piece that she played. It was a bit, I think, contemporary, maybe even a little left of center, sound wise. Not what we're probably, used to hearing. But I remember just being in awe of what I had heard and seen, because also she was playing a concert harp, which is firstly, a concert harp is really big. It has 47 strings. It's got 7 pedals. And more than the sound, I was very intrigued by how this instrument worked, because I could... Also, when the first time you see an instrument like that, you're like, it has a million strings. According to you, you're like, this is like a gajillion strings she's playing. And why is she hitting pedals? What are those pedals doing? I had those kind of questions. I was like, this is really cool. And I remember going to her the next day. Everybody was in school buzzing about the concert, everything. And I was just like, oh, Alison, I want to know how you play this. I think that was my first question to her. And she said, do you want to do a trial class? And I was like, yeah, sure, cool,
Wow.
whatever. No, with zero intention of ever picking this up as an instrument at all. And we did that one class and it was fun. She taught me how to play a scale. She taught me how the harp works. And at the end of the class, she said, do you want to come back next week? Because if you're coming back next week, I'll give you homework.
Wow.
And I was just like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And actually around that time, because I had walked into this program as a vocal major, there was a lot that was being done with the vocal program that was not great. I wasn't getting what I wanted. So I was a little there was a lot that was just happening also. So at that point, I was like, someone wants to teach me something new. Cool, let's do it. I was in this yeah, okay, whatever.
I'll do
Chalega, let's do this. So she gave me homework, which I still have that paper with my first homework because she wrote it on a piece of paper, tore it and gave it to me. She said, this is your homework. And I'm someone who keeps things. I didn't think too much of it though. But I kept it in some book that I still have that piece of paper today of the arpeggios that she made me practice and the scales that she made me do, all of that. And I went back the next week and the week after that and the week after that. And actually what just basically was happening was because I was not getting what I wanted from the vocal program. I think all that frustration, I was somehow maybe putting it into learning the harp.
Harp, yeah.
I found some peace, and I think a lot. There's a lot of the sound of the harp that just kind of, every time I walked into the harp room, which was the size of a matchbox, that harp room was really small. Only me and the harp and maybe my teacher could fit into that like room. But I would end up channeling a lot of my, I think, just frustration and everything into that learning. That it then came to a point of I wasn't able to hit certain learning points in my vocal program because I was spending so much of time learning the harp, or rather just practicing, because it felt like I was succeeding in something when I was failing in something else.
Wow.
So then it was a wild idea, and I said, actually, I think a friend of mine said, I can't remember how it came about, but it was like, why don't you change majors? So I think I must have thought about it. But that's scary also, right? You've never played this instrument in your life before. You've randomly picked it up, and now you're like, now that I'm in music school, let me change my majors because one is not working out. Of course, that was not an easy process, but with Allison's support, I was able to speak to the school management, figure that out, all of that, and then finally shift majors. I feel like if it hadn't been for the harp, I would have probably quit music school.
Wow.
And I mean, I wouldn't have quit music. I would have quit music school and tried to figure out another way of doing this. But if it hadn't been for the harp, I think I would have quit music school for sure. Wow. And tried to see what else could work out. But yeah, in a way, it kept me. It kept me back in a bit of formal education. And it changed gears for me for sure.
How many people actually play harp in India?
In India today, I would like to say we are about 4 who professionally do it.
Wow. 4 out of.
I mean, yeah, if you compare to the population of India, yeah, that's ridiculous. Okay. Having said that, though, I feel like, the thing is, globally itself, harpists are a rare commodity.
Yeah.
So the fact that today in India we have 3 or 4 who play publicly, who are playing professionally, is great. I also want to give a special mention to Megan Pandian, who's a harpist in her own right, and she was someone who, in fact, because I remember Megan, I think, called me around. So Megan is actually a fantastic classical pianist, and I think she plays violin as well. I'm not really sure. But I know that she's a classical pianist, and she got in touch with me around, I think, 2016 or 17. She had bought a visiting harpist had come down or something like that, who had a harp, and she bought her old harp because that harpist didn't want to carry it back with her or whatever, because that's also very cumbersome.
Yeah.
So she sold it to Megan, and Megan started learning. And Megan had actually called me to ask if I would teach her. But at that time, I was with True School of Music. I had a lot on my plate, and I told her, I said, I'll get back, because I was also traveling to Bangalore for something, but I said, I'll come back and we'll talk about this and everything. By then, Megan had already equipped herself with online classes and everything. And I was like, I'd rather you learn with someone else than with me, who also learned in a very fragmented way. Like, my formal learning in harp was only for a year with Allison. We knew we had that 1 year at KM to do this. So, we didn't focus on repertoire and things like that. Allison was like, I want to teach you as much of technique work as possible. So we focused on that. Of course, yes, we did do, I think, 2 or 3 harp recitals during that year. But the focus was on, she's like, how can I give you all the tools that you'll be able to play stuff on your own? Then she's like, you already know how to read. Then you're just reading sheet music and playing whatever, blah, blah. So when Megan started learning on her own, I mean, was anyways learning online and stuff like that, and with, I think, a couple of other harpists, I'm not really sure about her journey. And what is very beautiful with what Megan has done today is that she has started a harp school.
Really?
In India.
Wow.
Yes. And she teaches online as well as in person. And she and her husband have also started like I think it's called Harp India, and they are like a little harp dealership in India where they are bringing down harps at like for beginner level student harps, smaller ones. And so now there's a small community of harpists that have started, and every time I see like Harp India posts, it just really warms my heart, because it's something that see, back when I had started, I would get a lot of calls for classes.
Teaching,
Can you
yeah.
teach? I would have loved to, but back then, I'm talking about 2011, 2012, 13.
That's
Between
all, yeah.
that time, was, as much as I would have loved to teach people, I think it's imperative to understand that this instrument firstly is not available in India.
Exactly.
Okay. If you want it, it has to be imported. Okay. Secondly, it is and I openly say this, it is a shamefully expensive instrument.
How expensive?
We are talking about like a starting, like if you want a basic harp, non-branded, beginner level, maybe not the best quality or whatever, you're easily investing like maybe 2 to 3 lakhs. That's your initial
Like the
investment.
base.
Basic. I'm not talking about like a fancy harp. I'm not talking about a pedal harp. I'm talking about, because those are like, pedal harps are crazy expensive.
Like what is crazy?
Okay, I'll tell you what crazy expensive. So a pedal harp today, or actually even before when I was studying, if you wanted a decent brand pedal harp, full wood make, 47 strings would be, your starting point is $25,000. Yeah. Like it doesn't make sense. Like the math does not math. Okay. So this is my, like, see, and as much as I'm saying it's a shamefully expensive instrument, it is expensive because firstly, the number of harp makers around the world are very few. It is a craft that not everyone does.
Yeah.
Right? It's like how you look at Indian folk instruments today that are dying in certain villages because the next generation is not taking it over.
up.
That's the unfortunate part of it. Yes, today you have harp brands like Reese Harps that have continued to keep it in the family, and the next generation of their family has gone into making their harps and things like that, and that's great. And then you have the Lion and Healy's, and you have so your Lion and Healy and Caliac harps are like the Gibson and Fender of the harp world.
Okay.
Yeah, they are the big brands. They are the ones that are like, they have fantastic quality of harps, and so I think that for me, that those were barriers. So when people would call me, I'd feel really bad and be like, I can give you websites to go to order a harp, but it's going to cost you.
Yeah.
I would love to teach you. I'm happy to teach you on my harp, but then to practice will become a problem because I was gigging a lot at that time, whatever, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So practice would be a problem. So then what? So I did turn down like quite a few people, but I am so glad that today Megan has been able to set up something like this where you have little kids who are also learning to, adults who are also learning. And she's able to bring down like small size folk harps, which are great for beginners anyways. And I don't know how it works, but yeah, like the fact that there are harp students today in India, for me is just like, it's great. In fact, very recently I called Megan up and I said, oh my God, can I please do like a workshop? This was the first time I asked somebody if I could do a harp workshop, because otherwise, where can I do a harp workshop?
Yeah.
I've done harp workshops for kids in schools to introduce them to the instrument, to talk about how it's tuned and stuff like that. But to actually be able to sit in a room with other harpists and other young student harpists is something that I'm looking forward to. And Megan was like, she's like, Nush, I would love to do this, but she's like, let them come up to a certain level and then let's do like, because I was like, I want to do a composition workshop for like harpists, or let's do a harp ensemble. Like then my mind was just firing. I was like, we've never seen a harp ensemble in India.
Yeah.
Let's put together a harp ensemble. It does, like, level doesn't matter. The basic level students can play like the basic stuff. The senior students can play slightly more advanced this thing, but we can actually write for a harp ensemble today in India. We may have maybe 10 people, but 10 is great. Let's
Amazing.
do this. I would love to see 10 harps of different sizes, and I think that would be like a thing on its own. So yeah, I did speak to Megan about it, and I am going to like, she's having her baby very soon, so I'm waiting for her to have her baby and all of that, and then be like, let's do this, So, yeah, but that's the thing. Like, those are the barriers to playing a unique instrument in India, is the accessibility to it. And I always get questioned, like, why haven't we seen the harp before in India? Why, we see all other Western instruments in India. Why not the harp? How did the harp not come to India? That's also because in Indian music, we already had that sound. The best replication of the harp sound in Indian music is your santoor and your surmandal. It is the best and they are beautiful on its own. We didn't need the harp because the sound already existed here, technically. So, yeah.
Wow. I have so many questions for you.
Please.
Like, literally, I'm going to be like a student, like that dumb student who comes, Madam, how do you tune this? How many strings are there?
Happy to tell.
No, but like on a serious note, what are the different sizes in harp? How many strings are there?
Yeah.
What was that feeling when you first held it? I'm sure you must have, it must be there, because I remember when I first played a guitar.
Yeah.
So what can you just like...
So, as far as my first experience playing now this is, okay, so I was spoiled, okay, the fact that I had access to a pedal harp.
Wow.
I learned on a pedal harp. So, for me, it's been a little ulta. I learned on like a grand piano of the harp. So, I learned on a pedal harp, which firstly, the instrument in size is massive. Like the front part, which has the column itself is about 6 feet in height.
Wow.
And then it comes down, and it is a heavy instrument. But all the weight of it is at the bottom of the instrument.
Is it like a stationary instrument, like the actual acoustic instrument? Like you cannot move it? Or
No, you can. You
can.
You can 100% move it. I mean, with the help of like a dolly or a trolley sort of thing. But when you play it, you lean the harp on your right shoulder and play. Now, this harp also has about like 4 sound holes at the back. So I can never forget like the first time just playing a C major scale. Just 7 notes up and down. She taught me how to play it, how to go up and down. And she said, this is what I want you to play. Metronome was kept at 60. And that was my exercise for my first class. And it was the most meditative thing, because not only is the sound in the resonating body is so beautiful and it's so deep, but you can feel it because
it's resting.
and you have 4 sound holes that are, so you have, as much as you have the sound going out like this, you also have it like on your body, and it is the most like,
wow.
It is really something. Like I always say, with the harp, you don't need to complicate it. You don't need to play something like which has a lot of changes and a lot of notes for it to sound good. You can play Baba Black Sheep on this thing and it will sound fantastic. You know. Also, I feel it's how you play it, and it's how you use the dynamics of this instrument, because it's dynamically beautiful.
Wow.
So for me, I think even today, whenever I play, I find new ways of, I discover new things on it even today, when like just new ways of maybe playing a note. How, how soft can you approach it, how hard you can approach it, how harsh can you approach it, and it'll always give you something like fun to work with. And the harp also has a lot of limitations, which I personally love. I love that I have a box to play in. For example, on the harp, you are limited with the number of scales that you can play. There are only, especially with the kind of now let just to give you a brief on the kind of harps that you have. So I learned on a pedal harp, which is your concert harp, which gets used in orchestras and like for just larger classical things. Also, a lot of jazz gets played on like a pedal harp or whatever. Then you have folk harps, which originated from Wales, Scotland, Ireland. That's where folk harps came from. I play a folk harp today for multiple reasons. First, biggest reason was portability, maintenance in India. I wanted something small. I wanted something easy to maintain that I can maintain myself. Because with a pedal harp, you have to call down a regulator, a harp regulator to come and do it. And it is just financially not feasible. It's we don't get the kind of parts over here. They have to be ordered, all of that. Whereas a lever harp or a folk harp is definitely a lot more easier because the mechanism is on the outside of the harp, not on the inside. So it's great. Then you also have Paraguayan harps, which are very interesting. It's a slightly different build. The tension on the strings are slightly lighter. They play it like a Spanish guitar also, especially with the right hand. They in fact play with nails. Otherwise, classical harps, you're always asked to keep your nails short. My nails are always tiny. But Paraguayan harpists play with like nails on the right hand, and it's almost played like a Spanish guitar or a classical guitar.
So the strings are different?
Yes, they have softer strings. Yes. Not like I play on nylon strings, and like pedal harp I played on gut strings, but Paraguayan harp I think they play on like thinner wires. It's very interesting. Slightly different technique. You can't put that much, like the kind of pressure with which I play, or the tension that with which I play. If I play like that on a Paraguayan harp, I'll end up snapping some of those strings, like because it's a lot more lighter. In fact, I think one of the most famous Paraguayan harpists today that we have in modern music is Edmar Castaneda. He's a beast, and it is such a, I think every YouTube video I've seen of him playing is just, he makes it so fun. He makes it so dancey. It's so, and it's beautiful to see that sort of, and that's the thing, right? Everyone associates harp music only with classical music.
Exactly. I was coming to that, but yeah.
But it's not.
Yeah.
It started in folk music. Like, and if you listen to like Celtic folk, if you listen to Welsh folk music, the harp is everywhere. It's almost like their guitar, and it so beautifully adds to the way they even, their palette of like fiddle playing or violin playing, and then the way they have a particular kind of hand drum, which my memory fails me right now as to what that is called. But yeah, it's the harp pretty much comes from there, and then was built into like these, I think, much bigger classical instruments. So yeah. I think the one reference point I always get from people when they like, oh, you're a harpist, whatever, it's like, oh, we saw it in Tom and Jerry, and I love that. I love that. In especially in India, it was like, yeah, we saw the harp in some movies, but on Tom and Jerry. It was like when there was like some death scene or something, you'd see Tom playing the harp like in the clouds, which you still do get 7-string harps, the small ones, tiny ones. So you get harps from about like, I think 8 strings, 14 string to like, 47 strings. Yeah. But the style will change. So you'll see folk harps between 14 strings to maybe 40 strings. And then I think Paraguayan harps also go up to about 36 strings or so. But yeah, your pedal harps will only be between, I think, a 40 and a 47, not more than that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, you were talking about strings. So, what exactly, like, if a string snaps, and I'm sure it has,
Yeah.
what do you do?
I
And
change it.
how often do you change?
Okay. So with the harp that I have today is not a wooden harp. I today play a carbon fiber harp.
Okay, you have multiple harps at home?
I
25
okay, no, 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 no.
25.
One second. It's not that bad. Okay,
Okay, fine.
Firstly, it's not bad at all. My first harp was a wooden harp, which was a 34 string lever harp that I bought from this small shop in London, which was called the Early Music Shop or the Early Music Store or something like that. Their specialization is in medieval instruments.
Wow.
Like, it's ridiculous. Okay, you'll find lutes, you'll find recorders. They have all kinds of lutes, all kinds of recorders, all kind. And the only reason I found this was because that was one harp, or the harps that they had were reasonably priced. And by reasonably priced, I mean I think I must have paid 80,000 rupees
Wow.
for it, because it was an in-house build. It was non-branded. It was built I think they were made in Hungary or something like that. All nylon strings, which was great. And I think with shipping plus customs and all of that, I must have spent a little over £100,000 for it, which
Which
I
is
think is
great.
which is great for, especially 2010 I got it, 2011 I think I got it, 2010, yeah. That harp, of course, I think really did its time with me. All my first work was written on it.
Wow.
And it moved from house to house. It went all the way up to Ziro when I played Ziro in 10 years ago, 2015. My first festival took that, of all the instruments possible, to go to Ziro, which was an adventure in itself. Was
imagine.
because of all the festivals, which is like, Zero is that one festival which going there itself is like an event.
Yeah.
You guys have done it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, I took that harp there, which was super fun. But also something very magical happened. I remember I played my set, and there was a photographer at the festival who wanted to take pictures of the harp on top of the hill. So we finished playing, and then whatever, we managed to, like, with help and everything, we took the harp up on top of like the hill, which looks down into the festival. And as we were setting up that shot, we kept hearing this like, ooh, happen. We were like looking around, and we were trying to figure out, where is this coming from? Basically, the wind was playing the harp. Like, the wind was
Entering the.
yeah, because it was flowing through the harp, so it was moving the strings, and you could hear this beautiful. It was like as if like the harp was singing on its own, and I think
Wow.
we recorded some of it, and now when it randomly happens, like if I'm doing sound check on a stage that is open air and it happens, everyone is just like, wait, is that the harp on its own? And it's like, yeah, and I love it, because that was like one of the most magical moments for me, was to just like, I didn't think that would happen, firstly, right? You never like,
Yeah.
and
it is-
especially because you're like, where is this coming from? And then go to see, it was the wind was playing the harp on its own. It was like,
it's like the angel sitting in the cloud.
correct. Exactly. Exactly. It was literally that. It was one of those like moments. Yeah. So I have that harp. I don't play that harp anymore, because also the wood really warped after a while, and I felt like the wood of that harp just gave up. Like I said, it was not a top quality build or anything.
So I have a question here.
Yeah.
With time, your instruments also age beautifully.
Yeah.
Right? Like especially
Yeah.
the wooden instruments
Yes.
that are there.
Yeah.
So does the same thing happen with harps also?
I think it's a little different with the harp. I mean, yeah, if you're playing it is one thing, but if you're maintaining it with the right temperature and things like that, it will hold. But of course, like we were talking about earlier in Bombay, with the kind of humidity levels,
Yeah.
it is a problem. And this particular harp of mine, I think, because it was not like like I said, because it was not of like top quality or whatever, it sort of gave up after a while. So even sound wise, it wasn't the best. During that time, I did pick up a smaller harp, which was they actually call, it's a part of the Reese Harp brand, which is called Harpsicles. And I firstly love the fact that it's called a harpsicle.
Yeah.
Okay, because they're small. The resonating body is literally like like a rectangle. Surprisingly, for how small that resonating body is, the the sound that harp has was really bright and really loud, actually. I bought that one because they were also very reasonably priced back then. It must have been like some $500 or something like that. My sister was in the US, she ordered it, and I was in the US for like a residency program or something like that. So I picked it up and I brought it back to with me that year. That was, I think, 2012, I think. That harp I had for a while, and it was super fun. And it even I used to use it when I used to do workshops with kids because it was not of an intimidating size. It was easy to show, easy for kids to strum, all of that. It even once, because of the humidity, the soundboard split from the body. Gave it to good old Alberto's.
Yeah.
They like brought it back, sorted it out. And then unfortunately, I had rented it out to a theatre group that had come down from the UK. And they left it at the back of a rickshaw, and it just went.
Went as in disappeared.
Yeah, bye.
No ways, really?
Yeah. This must have been about 7 or 8 years ago when this happened. And it was really unfortunate. I mean, and it was so random because I remember I was in a vocal workshop because Annette Phillip and everybody had come down from Berkeley and they were doing like a whole vocal workshop, which was happening at Levi's Lounge. And I remember going for this thing. And I had such a great like vocal session of just singing with beautiful people. And suddenly my phone rings, take the call. And it's this team. And they said, Nush, we have some bad news. And I was like, okay, what happened? And I thought like some strings had broken. I mean, they had a harpist on their team or whatever. So I thought maybe string had broken, something went wrong, whatever. So we left it in a rickshaw. And I was like, I literally at that point did not know. I was like, how do I react? Like, I don't know what to say, you know? But I mean, of course, they were lovely about it. They had insurance, blah, blah, blah. So they paid me back not only the value of the harp, but they also paid me the rental that I had charged them and everything. And it was fine.
Should have got you a bigger harp.
Yeah, I mean, like, and that was the thing, right? I used to actually call that my baby harp. It was called the baby harp.
Harpsicle.
Yeah, and it was really cute. And I remember and I still am a little heartbroken about it, of course.
Yeah.
But I'm really hoping that the next harp that I do buy is going to be that. Then in 2026, so that was the second harp that I owned, which was like now RIP.
2026?
Sorry, 2016. So in 2016,
In the future.
I will buy another harpsicle harp. That I know for sure. But in 2016, this was probably the best investment that I made. Of course, with the help of my family. I could not have done it without them. Is I bought a full carbon fiber harp.
Wow.
And the reason why I say it is the best investment that I have made is because, I mean, with the carbon fiber, I don't have warping issues, nothing. So even when it comes and you were asking about changing strings, right? So if you're playing an acoustic harp, like a full wood body, you're changing your strings almost every year.
Okay. Year is not bad.
Yeah, once a year you do a change of strings or whatever. But with the carbon fiber, because there's no warping, I can push it to, like I have pushed, actually my current strings is due for a change, but I've played on this for now almost 2 years with no change of strings.
Wow.
And allowed it. Also, but see, it also depends on like how much you're playing, right? Like the more you play, the
The
more the
more,
strings will stretch anyways. So I can tell there are certain strings of mine that are like slowly, I can
Deadish.
feel like not deadish, it's becoming a little like the stretchability of it is going. So, and I can feel it while playing because it doesn't hold that kind of tension anymore. But I can still chill out. I played in Bangalore recently and it sounded great. I was like, thanks. So,
Wow.
so yeah. So with this harp, the carbon fiber, I find to be the best. Like I always say, it's the most like paisa vasool situation
Yeah.
because it's super light. I used to carry my first harp was a good 12 kilos. I used to carry that around. This harp is 3.5 kilos. Huge difference. In fact, my harp case probably like weighs more because with the harp case it comes to like 7 kilos. But to
Wow.
carry a 3 kilo harp, 3.5 kilo harp around is this thing. I don't have to worry if something spills on it. It's fine. Nothing happens. If it falls,
So
it's
casually, something spills on it.
yeah, in
I'm eating and like some breadcrumbs go on it.
Literally. I mean, I would worry about this harp because it's got like a pickup and all that, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But the harp maker, who's this guy named Dave, fantastic guy, very interesting personality. So the brand is called Heartland Harps. And when he first built like this harp, he had Maeve Gilchrist, who's a phenomenal harpist, who was, played with Aruj Aftab. She was on tour with her for a very long time. But Maeve Gilchrist is someone who's fantastic. And he has videos of her like jumping into the pool with the harp because you can.
Yeah, it's
'Cause the
carbon fiber.
Full body carbon fiber. It's very sturdy. It'll break only under severe pressure.
Yeah.
Those kind of things.
Yeah, I think. Yeah,
So it's also easy for me to travel with.
Yeah.
Like I put it in a really good case, check it in. And yeah, I'm a little stressed, but I'm not that stressed also.
Oh, you check it in.
Yeah. It goes as like oversized luggage.
Oh, yeah?
I can't take it on a flight.
Oh, okay.
The only time I've been able to take my harp on a flight has been, I mean, very few aircrafts allow it. Jet Air used to be the only one that used to do it back in the day, and then Jet Air went away, and I was like, this sucks. But yeah, but this harp, I check it in.
Wow.
And it goes separately. It comes out separately. They bring it by hand, which is great. But yeah, I mean, those are the perks, like, which is why I keep saying, it's the most, like, it's the best investment I've made is because it is stress free for me. I'm just, like, in a sense, it is stress free.
Yeah, I think even carbon fiber, the entire like the innovation has changed
Yes.
especially in musical instruments because like guitars are there, violins are there, like there are so many
Ukuleles,
ukuleles.
yeah,
Everything is in carbon fiber and it's amazing. I mean, if
Yeah.
you're a performing in like a musician,
Yeah.
and you're constantly traveling, you're not stressed about whether like the flight will handle my instrument, how will they
Yes.
handle, what's going to happen.
Yeah. And, see, I mean, of course, the main concern by most people is like, oh, but, what's the difference in the sound and everything? And yeah, like, there are the purists who will be like, oh,
Yeah.
I refuse to play a carbon fiber. And fair, man. Like,
Yeah.
but how I see it is the only difference in tone is maybe a bit of warmth.
Is missing or is
Slight
more
warmth is missing.
Huh? So
Yeah.
it's brighter.
Yeah, it's maybe a little brighter.
Yeah.
It's also the kind of strings you play on a carbon fiber, right? You're playing with nylon strings. My bass strings are all wires, so I have about 8 to 10 wires. Then I have nylon wound, and then I have plain nylon.
Wow.
So, and then again, for me, I'm a contemporary singer, songwriter, harpist. The weirder the sound, the better for me.
Yeah.
So I like it. Like, it doesn't bother me that it's not like traditional. It's okay.
Yeah, nice. So you said contemporary, and like in the beginning you had also spoken about like harp is mostly considered as a classical instrument. So how do you kind of fuse both these worlds together when it comes to creating different darker sounds or like the sounds that go with different genres, right? You did an electronic production. So how does all of this, like how does the instrument fit into, like how do you think when it comes to these things?
For me, the approach has always been throw the rule book out.
Yeah.
I love it when someone tells me no rules.
Amazing.
Because then I'm just like, and I'm saying that purely because for me, the harp on its own has enough of rules. I have key restrictions on the harp. I have modulation restrictions on the harp because for me, especially with the lever harp, the pedal harp is still more room for you to modulate and add accidentals and all that because of the pedals that are there. But on a lever harp, you are restricted to playing in one key in
Oh.
the relative minor of that key. Max, you can do a few accidentals, but you've got to write it in a way that your left hand is ready to like change the lever and then play.
Oh, so it's like a wind instrument, or like you don't have the access to all the keys. It's like a one key.
Sort of like, so with all the, so let me put it to you this way.
Huh.
All the levers are basically the ones that control what key we are in. So with all the levers down, my harp is tuned to an E flat.
Okay.
Okay.
Huh.
Then with my C, B, and A levers up, I'm in C major. So this is where you have to know little music theory. Otherwise, it's like, it's one of those, like you should be well versed with your key signatures.
Huh. So if there's a signature change in the song, it's
Yeah, or you have to be like little tricky about it and then maybe tune the top to a certain this thing, and then you're only playing this section on this side of the harp and playing this section. So that's the thing. It's like the instrument on its own has
is
restrictions
limitation.
for me.
Yeah.
So when I go into a different genre space and someone is just like, kuch bhi, I'm like, okay,
Kuch bhi.
let's go. Like, I'm ready now. Like, yeah. And I think I've had the privilege of also playing with very interesting people. For example, I've played, I was a part of the whole listening room session that was started by Rana Ghosh, which was this like electronic, underground, experimental, complete goes into like atonality of music. Like those are the kind of artists he was curating. And through that, I had like the pleasure of playing with Jamblu, who is one of, if you know of Karthik Pillai. Karthik Pillai is basically Jamblu, Begum, whatever. And Karthik was one of these noise artists. Now, I am someone who just I right from music school when I had to study like atonalism and all that, loved the thought of just being upside down anyways. So when I got a chance to work with Jamblu, and I was like, what are you doing? And he was like, oh, I'm just like, running stuff through like sequencers. He said, I'll build you a wall of noise and you just throw stuff at it. What does that mean? I don't know. I was like, but it sounds damn cool. I was like, cool, let's do this. Okay. And I can never forget, out of curiosity, I just asked him, like, should I tune to a certain key? Like, are you playing with a certain, just like if you have a drone in C or something like that, or in D, like, should I tune to it? And I asked him, and his reaction was just like shrugged shoulders. And I was like, great, like, this is fun. And I think sometimes to have that liberty to do something like that, that's so, like I said, not even left of center, it's upside down in the music world, I loved that. And that sort of, when I go in with only limited knowledge of also even my instrument, I've studied it only for a limited amount of time. Everything else has been discovery beyond that, right? So for me, when I go in with only that much, and then you're given like a bunch of colors and you're asked to play, you're like, you can do anything.
Yeah.
And I think that's, for me, that's something that has sort of worked in my favor. I'm always very nervous about it. Like, even with Indian classical musicians who I've worked with, and I've had the pleasure of working with Chandana Bala Kalyan, I've had the pleasure of working with Swarupa Anant very recently as a part of Women Who Drum and things like that. And it's so much fun because even with Chandana, the idea was, she said, I wrote this piece, it's like a Kannada ghazal sort of piece. And I just casually asked her, in what Raag have you written this? And she gave me this Raag, and I was like, that's cool. And in conversation, because we love to talk, the two of us, I said, I have written a piece on keys, and I feel I can't tell what key it is in, but I have a feeling it's a Raag because it's not even a mode. And she said, play it for me. So I played the scale for her, and she said, it's Madhuvanthi. And I said, oh, and then she said, Nush, Madhuvanthi is beautiful. And I said, okay. And then she said, do you want to do this Kannada song in Madhuvanthi? And I was like, okay, cool. Without like no thought, nothing. Okay. I'm like, yeah, cool, whatever. And so what I did was on the harp, I tuned the harp to Madhuvanthi. And she said, I'll follow you. Now, full tension. Okay. I have full stress right now because the little of Indian classical theory that I know, even with rags come with certain restrictions. You can't use this note going ascending, in descending, you can use this note, but this note you should not play at all of that. So full tension, okay? And I'm sitting with someone like a Chandana Bala who comes from that school, who was taught very traditionally, all of that. But this is also why I absolutely love her, is while we were doing the piece, now I'm playing this piece like a traditional harpist. I'm playing chords, I'm playing arpeggios. I'm not doing anything mind-blowing by any means. I'm just moving where that bass note is going up and down. Okay, but I'm either playing triads or something like that. Okay, nothing complicated from a Western perspective at all. But it's tuned to Madhuvanthi. So the kind of chords, the kind of harmonies that we were getting, as a Western trained musician, I would have never thought of at all.
Wow.
Because it's a color that is so beautiful. And it's so, I feel like as Western musicians, we need to start opening up to just sometimes, like I said, throw the book out. Because there is so much more beyond the book. I feel like this is also where my philosophy in music ed also comes from, is because I had to discover a lot of things myself. And when I looked back, and that's not to say that, teachings in Western classical music are wrong or right or whatever. But yes, you learn the rules to learn the rules, but then you also should know how to break it. Or you should, after sometimes it's like, yeah, we know this is the rule, but it's okay, because the sonic spectrum in sound in general, there's so much more than 12 notes.
Yeah.
So why can't we express that? Why can't we figure that out? And the only way to figure that out is by closing the book, keeping it away, and just being like, now let's just have fun. Because bottom line is, why did we get into music? Because music was fun.
Yeah.
This is another thing, and we can talk about this later when we talk about the education side of things. But for me, this is also what I feel is missing in music education today. Is music ed has become so competitive with everybody's exams, this, that.
Yeah.
Bottom line is, when someone goes to learn music, why are you learning music? Are you learning music to get a certificate, or are you learning music because music is fun? Is because you learn to sing a song, whatever song that may be, or you saw a guitar solo, or you saw like someone you saw someone playing the drums, and you're like, I want to play like this person.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah.
I feel like somewhere we need to get back to it. And I think for me, like I said, I've been lucky enough to to work with people like Chandana and with Swarupa, who also give you that creative liberty. Like Chandana could have sat back and said, no, this is not, but with every chord, she could see my face, because I was like, is this following the rules or no? And she was just like, no, this is amazing. She was like, go for it. And I was like, Chandana, what if people say? And she said, who cares? Because see, everywhere there are going to be gatekeepers.
Yeah.
Who will say, how did you do this? And why did you do that? And
but it's your art form.
Like at the end of the day, when we played it, Chandana and I felt really good.
That's
we
what
had a
matters.
great time, And I think that will translate. And yes, you will have people who will be like, I'm sure there'll be people who will see my harp playing and criticize it, and fair. I don't claim to be like the great harpist. No, not at all. I know where my limitations are. But yeah, for me at the end of the day is I got into this because it was fun. I wanted to continue being fun. So yeah.
High five.
Yeah.
Nice. So traditionally, you were talking about compositions and all of that, right?
Yeah.
Like, so when you're composing your own music, what's the process like? Because like as a person who composes on a guitar,
Right.
like I have my like steps, or like I'll have a melody and then I'll just play it, or
Correct.
like I'll have my chords and then I'll hum a melody. Like
Yeah.
how do you go about with?
I think it's the same.
Okay.
Very honestly, it's the same. It's just that the instrument's different.
Correct.
So whether I'm, and for me today, my composition sort of process either starts on the harp or the keys. So it's a lot of, and it's the same thing. It's like I'm either noodling around on the harp, find something interesting that I think is like, oh, this sounds cool. Play it a few times, loop it a little bit, start humming a top line over it. Sing gibberish then becomes words, and that's how it is. So I think that's I think that's how a lot of us also do it. Is it starts with just like you're playing something, and a lot of times, especially with the harp, I have a habit of just not thinking and play any chord, and then going back and be like, oh, what was that? And then going over it again and again, looping it, finding something else. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's not as like, I think it's not as complicated as, and like I said, because my harp also, because of the limitations that I have musically on it, I have to find a way to make the most of those limitations.
So talking about limitations, like how on a guitar, like I can, or a piano, like say suppose you're playing something jazzy, you can go from this chord, like flat fives to like add nines to like add 13s to like,
Right.
so can you do something like that?
Yeah, you can. I mean,
But in a limited chord set.
yeah, like see, you can definitely your add 13s, 11s, 9s. That comes anyways in the arpeggio. Like, and it's so funny because in my head, I'm just thinking of it as three notes. I'm thinking of three notes or four notes. I'm playing a seventh or I'm playing a triad.
Correct.
But when you hear it all together, those top notes are your 9s and your 11s and whatever, blah, blah, blah. Because I've had this happen once where some jazz musician, I forgot who, at some gig, came up to me after the show and was like, didn't you play like a 9 here and 11 here? And in my head, I was like, I'm just playing triads, man. Like, like I appreciate this, I would love to think that my music was that complicated, but actually it's not. I think only recently, because after because I also had a bit of a identity crisis with the harp. You need to understand that when I got into the industry, I was known as the harpist.
Correct.
That girl, the harpist, Nush, the harpist. And fair, you know. And I also have to give credit to that because that's how I got known in the scene, was Nush as the harpist, right? But what happened is then that became my only identity. So then for me internally, full like, oh man, I don't know about this and all of that. I remember for my second EP, Bridges, some of the compositions started on the harp and then I moved to piano. And I started composing on the piano, which obviously with the piano gave me a wider harmonic palette.
Correct.
And which I enjoyed a lot. And in fact, Ayan Day, who had recorded my first EP, he was in fact one of the first people to tell me that you're actually a singer first, you're a singer-songwriter first, you're a harpist after that, and it took me a while to embrace that. So for a while, I was not writing on the harp and I was only keeping it to, the piano and things like that. Like Bridges, in fact, the only song that is on the harp is a song called Lament. Everything else was written on piano, was recorded on piano as well, and produced that way. Cut to the last EP, which was called Forgotten Verses. Forgotten Verses was a mix of both, but everything was composed on piano for that, and then certain things I brought to the harp, but didn't make it the focal point. So for me also as an artist, it's been quite a journey of like just identity with, because you get to be known as only one thing. And then you're just kind of, as much as you take pride in being known as that harpist and all of that, I'm more than that.
Yeah.
As an artist, right? I'm a composer, I'm a lyricist, I'm a writer. Yeah. So you really have to push. And I think a lot of it just comes from it had to come from me. I had to be like, yeah, I am this. So when it came to Forgotten Verses, I did that EP with Ayan as well. And it was interesting because Ayan did the first EP with me. He didn't do the second one with me. And then he came and did the third one with me. And both of us could see the difference of our approach to that EP, because we kept the voice at the center of it. He was like, he's like, we will build everything around the
it.
vocals. We're not going to build around. He's like, I know you've written all of this, is great. But he's like, from a production standpoint, we are building now around the vocals. And that was, for me, honestly, very liberating as someone who has had a tough time as a vocalist. That has had, like I said, when I joined music school, I joined as a vocal major. And then there was a lot of, whatever happened in that was so much that I lost confidence in my voice. So even when I moved to Bombay, started writing as a singer-songwriter, playing and all of that, there was no confidence in the voice. The melody was there, all of that. And I know, and till I came to like Bridges, where things started getting a little better. Also, I have to give credit to the few, I think, workshops that I did with vocalists like Vasundhara V and stuff like that, who really sort of made you embrace your own sound with confidence. And yeah, so I feel like my journey also as a vocalist like changed. So when cut to like doing Forgotten Verses, where it didn't feel uncomfortable to keep my voice at the center of it. Yeah. And that was like, I think, like very nice. So now I'm a little more like I said, it was almost like I had a bad relationship with the harp also in the middle. And you're like kind of battling that. You're trying to figure out, because you don't want it to be your identity. It's an instrument I play. Yes. It is something that has got me to where I am today. Yes. It has got me gigs. Yes. It has got me to play with fantastic musicians. Yes. But yeah, and like, I know that even today, if people listen to this, they'd be like, yeah, but like, isn't it cool to be called? Like, yes, of course it's cool to be called a harpist. Who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want that? But for me personally, it's been like a bit of a battle. Cut to like today, where I feel like it's slowly coming back. But now I have the mental capacity and the maturity to balance that identity problem out. Because now I feel like also as an artist, I've grown a lot.
Yeah.
We all have.
Yeah.
Like I was just saying, like we've all seen each other in this industry.
Yeah.
From where we started to today, all of us have changed.
Yeah.
And you have to.
Yeah.
You should.
Yeah.
If you haven't, then there's a problem. We have an issue.
So as a composer, or like when you're composing, coming back to that, so what comes first to you? Do you write first? Do you write your own songs first? Let's start from there.
Yeah.
Or do you have somebody to write the songs for you?
Yeah.
And then is it the melody that comes first to you, or is it like like I asked, like is the chord structure you're just noodling around and then you're like, oh, this is a cool structure and I can do something over it?
Right.
Like, how does this work for you?
So I do write everything, right from the melody to the progressions to the lyrics. Everything is written by me.
Keeps all the IP to herself.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
So-
I would hold on. Okay? I would love to co-write, and I have co-written with people. But yeah, most of, at least my stuff that's on the EPs are all written by me, produced by different people. Though. Yes. For me, initially it was always melody would come first while noodling. Okay, so because for me, I don't really play too much melody on the harp. A lot of it is comping arpeggios on the harp. So I'm singing melody lines over it. So for me, melody comes first and then lyrics. Having said that, for Forgotten Verses, it was very interesting because chord progressions came down, sort of melody, and for some reason lyrics weren't coming that easily. And then I couldn't figure out why for the life of me. But anyways, opened some old journal of mine or whatever, where I found old verses that I just randomly penned down. I think, just sort of free verse stuff that I'd written. So picked that up, and some of them magically sat on the rhythm and on the, the chord progressions or whatever, which is why the EP is called Forgotten Verses,
Verses.
because they were verses that were just locked in a book and never synced till I opened it, went through it, and I was like, because the thing was, maybe I'll get inspiration from looking at some of my old writing. And it was on seeing those pieces. So that was the first time where randomly a verse that was not written for the music fit. And years apart, right?
Yeah.
So that's the thing. When people ask me what are some of those songs about, I actually don't know, because the context in which I probably wrote the free verse is not there anymore. So I feel like you can make whatever you want out of it, in a sense. Yeah.
How long does it take for you to produce a song or an album
Gosh,
generally?
I'm one of those very moody writers. Okay. I'm not someone who'd be like, we need to finish this today. No. In fact, I have stuff that I'll probably write intro, verse, maybe the chorus, and it's just there. And if nothing comes after that, I'll just leave it. Because if I sit and I'm forcing myself to write that second verse and it's not happening, I get very frustrated. I get frustrated fast, and then I feel like I'm a loser. And then I'm like, I don't want to do this, and throw it away and walk around. So now I've always been like that. I did try, because I used to watch composers like, say, I think Rohan Rajadaksha does this, where he purge writes. Every day he writes something. Every day he writes something. And he says, I'll write till I get that one piece that I'm like, yes.
This is-
And I think that, firstly, that is commendable. It is an art, not but I've tried doing it. I just found it, for me personally, it got very frustrating, because I felt that every day that I was trying to do something, and if I was not getting to it, it irritated me.
Because you're force writing.
Yeah. So for me, that's when I realized that that's just not my process, I admire people who do it, and hats off, because that takes some sort of tenacity to do that, whereas for me, if I feel it, I write it. If I don't, I park it. I feel like it marinates itself. I also get to just disconnect for a bit and come back, and maybe with a slightly different perspective, or go back to it and say, oh, it's nice that I still feel the same way about that. Okay, now I'm coming back a little more refreshed, and I can write it differently, or write it, maybe the way I envisioned it, something like that. So I'm a very moody writer, which is why my work takes time. I realized this only last year, when I was migrating my catalog from one distributor to another. So when I was putting everything onto the new distributor, I was looking at the years of release. Okay. And my first release was in 2015. Then the next one was 2019. And I technically wanted to do and then was 2023. So it's almost like a gap of 4 years, right? Between everything. And I actually wanted to do the next project of mine was supposed to be done this year. And it's just not happening. And I'm like, maybe it's meant for next year, because it has to hit that 3 or 4
Gap
year
has to
mark.
be there. So that's what I was going to ask you. What is next in line? What are you planning to release?
So the next piece is a piece that's called Writings on the Leaves. And this is not just any album for me, because this for me is actually more of a performance piece. And by performance piece, what I mean is that it is a multidisciplinary piece. It is a part theatre, part music. We are using creative tech as well. So this is going to be a live piece. It is involving, we are a total of 6 people in this. I have theatre actor and director Meghna Eti, who's coming in to do the scripting and the dramaturgy of this piece. She will also be narrating this as well. Shruti Veena Vishwanath, who is a phenomenal folk singer, someone who dives into female mystic poetry, all of that. She has come on board for this piece as well. I'm writing all the original music. Aaron Miles Pereira is going to be doing all the creative tech for the live performance. And Sachi is coming on board to doing all the sound design for the piece as well. So this is something that I conceptualized last year. And initially, there was one sort of concept, there was a story I wanted to tell, which was inspired sort of by not only my grandmother, but also just women who have lived their lives in a way where everything, especially of that generation, where, a lot of their lives, whether they were working professionals or no, revolved around their husband in a sense. And then when that one link or that one partnership goes away, how they reclaim identity after that. And it's sort of telling that story and in that vein, but also talking about how from centuries ago, when you had poets who wrote, female poets who whether wrote under male names or not, wrote about these experiences, to the fact that even today women are all experiencing the same thing. So that experience hasn't changed, it's just the years that have
Yeah.
changed. That's sort of the overarching theme of this piece. And this is something that I think the reason why it hasn't come out is because I want the first performance of it to be live only. We are also planning to record it live as well, and then package the album and put it out. But this will be a live experience piece. And I've always wanted to do something. I've always wanted to delve into the multidisciplinary space,
Yeah.
because I love theater.
Yeah.
I love drama. I love storytelling, and I feel like all of us as musicians, we're
Yeah.
technically
Storytellers,
storytellers.
yeah.
So just tapping into a different style of storytelling,
Yeah.
also giving not only the audience a different performance experience, but for us as artists also, we don't put ourselves in those spaces. Otherwise, we were so used to just, we write an album, we put it out, we go on to the same stages in India, and we play the same set over and over again. We were talking about
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
And for me, I was just like, I just wanted something more. And I had done something similar with Bridges, where, I got an artist, a friend, Vaishnavi Kumar, who's actually a childhood friend of mine, where she created physical paper cut pieces for each and every piece of music that was composed, and we sold those on at this thing. We had it as a part of like the performance as well, where we suspended it from the ceilings, all of that. Fantastic. And I loved that that was such a collaboration for me. I got a kick out of it, in a sense where the piece went beyond the music. It went beyond the narrative of just me telling this like one story, but you had an artist that contributed in another way or whatever. So even this, as much as I started off with this particular story, as we were building it, as Meghna and I were sitting and doing the writing, as Shruti and I were talking about like old pieces that we wanted to add to this, all of that, it grew into something more than just the four pieces that I have in mind from my side that I have written and kept. It feels like a sort of there's more to this than just the songs.
Yeah,
There's a story we're
amazing.
trying to tell,
Amazing.
and all of that. So this is something that I'm working on, and inshallah we will have this. We'll do this next year. If the timeline
Matches.
like angels play this right, we will do this next year. Yeah, if the funding comes through, all of that. But yeah,
Amazing.
so that's
Amazing.
yeah.
Oh, wow. I think you have a lot of parallels from like, limitations from your instrument to like exploding in like multidisciplinary spaces. So that just like kind of not playing in that box to like, having theater, involving different. So I can clearly see those, you're going in like just have fun.
Right.
Amazing. So you spoke about funding. When it comes to your, producing an album,
Yeah.
and when it comes to playing gigs in India, what are these avenues? So clearly, from audience point of view, like our audience is, the next generation musicians.
Yeah.
So how do you do like your budgeting or like your general PNL for that matter?
So with regard to all my EPs, if I've been able to fund any of them, it's because I work in education, and that is my main source of income. So I would make sure that I'd set some money aside for for the next EP or whatever. And which is why even today when like young artists come and talk to me and say, oh, but I have a day job, I'm like, man, keep it.
Yeah.
keep that day job, because especially if you're living in Bombay, it's expensive. And also there's no shame in having a day job.
Yeah.
I think if anything, it gives you that mental space that frees up also to work on your craft, to work on your art, to it helps with your songwriting, that you have an income that's coming in. You don't have to worry about, paying your bills, paying your rent, whatever that is. So for me, that's how I've pretty much like funded most of my work, has been funded because I had a job, and that's how I did it. But for something like this, that is, with the next project, which is a much larger budget, yeah, it's for me, I think putting a budget together for this particular piece was a real experience, because I had to like sit down with Aaron, ask him what he needed from hardware to software to, you know, how much is it going to take for us to rent out the projector that we needed? How much does that cost? Putting all those costs together was very interesting. And then you also realize, like, you know, I always am like, hats off to theater people, man, who do this day in and day out. For me, I think it was also because in 2023, I had the privilege of being on a theater production for the first time, which really sort of like opened my eyes to just watching how actors do things and all of that. So I think that was a small, so that's where that spark of doing a multidisciplinary piece came in, was from that, was working with actors, working with a sound designer, and doing this live to an audience. And but yeah, budgeting for this piece was definitely very different from the way I've budgeted for any of my other albums, because for most of my other stuff, it's just been me and a producer. Or me, a few live elements. We'd go on for one day of like into a studio, record all of it, and then be like, great, now we're ready to like post-production and like whatever, mix, master, and bye-bye. This is a little different, because the final product is the live performance, and then everything else after that is like supplementary, right? Like the EP coming out, I mean the album coming out somewhere will be after the thing, but the main focus is that first live performance that we do.
Nice.
And then hopefully we get to like tour with it and things like that.
Amazing.
But I feel like this is the first time when I was putting this budget together that I was very like, it also opens up your eyes to like, because I've approached corporates, I've approached brands for sponsorship, and it's also very disheartening. Like, it's easy to give up. I think I did give up a bit like 3 months ago, but that's also because I joined like my new role at Abbey Roads. Then I was just like it gave me that time to be like, this is a great excuse to not think about this piece. And I kind of parked it for a while. But it's hard to get funding for anything in the arts. A huge problem that we also have in India is the lack of government grants.
I was just going to ask you,
Yes.
what about government grants?
Government grants are very limited. I mean, they are there, but just to find out that process of how do you even apply for it, like the information that's available online is, none of it makes sense. Like on the website itself, on the government website itself, if you look for it'll be some form that you have to print out and you have to fill it by hand. It's like, why can't this be made easy? We have all the tech in the world.
And in a country where we are so driven by culture, art, so many artists, like in like, classical to contemporary to folk to like so much, every part of India. And it's such a pain to
we have
get
such
grants.
a diverse history, like you rightly said. Culturally in India, we are, I think, one of the most, we have some of the oldest art forms. We have some of the oldest musical traditions, theatrical traditions, dance traditions. Why aren't we funding the arts? Why aren't we showcasing it outside? But this is, I mean, with just the kind of bureaucracy and the red tape around these things, it's really, see,
it breaks my heart as well, man. I mean, it's crazy.
Until and unless I always say it's a top-down problem. As much as everyone's like, oh, but if you do this and if you do that, it's like, man, you can't keep telling the bottom of the food chain to keep doing things. Sometimes it's the powers that be that need to value the arts and the culture and the cultural landscape of the country to say, you know what, we want to put X amount of money in this so that artists get paid well, so that the people behind the scenes, right from our sound vendors to whoever that's building a stage, to music festivals, to whatever, everybody's getting paid properly, fairly, so that we can sustain ourselves. Like recently I saw Ireland has announced that artists in Ireland will be getting paid something close to about $1,500 or whatever per month,
Wow.
just as a like a sustenance thing. It's like from the government, if you are an artist, you get paid X amount of money to sustain yourself and to like continue creating your art. Imagine how we are already culturally and artistically rich.
Yeah.
Imagine if we had to continue to, if we had to fund artists like that, we would be somewhere else today.
And I mean, see, we are not even saying we want like $1,500 or whatever, right?
Yeah.
In India, you can literally sustain in like 15,000, 20,000 rupees per month. That's enough to sustain.
Yeah.
Not in a city like Bombay,
Yeah,
perhaps.
yeah.
But like,
But it keeps you, at least like it keeps some of your bills paid
Yeah.
or whatever. Like I feel like if we had that kind of investment, not only in for artists, but also because I openly advocate for arts education. If we do that today, we would just also see people living just more fulfilled lives,
Yeah.
more enriched lives. Like I always say, why do we advocate for arts education? Is because it's not that it is, we want everybody to be an artist. No.
yeah.
Everybody is not going to want to be, a painter or an actor or a dancer or whatever. But what does art education contribute to your life is its personality development.
Yeah.
It makes you more empathetic person.
Yeah.
It makes you a more expressive person.
Yeah.
Is that you are able to tell someone if you are angry or
Yeah.
sad or
Yeah.
that sort of thing. It's like that's where advocacy for arts
Yeah.
education should be.
Yeah.
And if we had that kind of investment in it, I think we would just see also generations of individuals graduate to be just a lot more happier. We'd be living happier lives
Yeah,
than
that's
like
true.
go become doctor, engineer. And there's nothing wrong with being doctor. We need good doctors. We need good engineers. All of that.
And we need good artists.
Exactly. Because I see, this is how I look at it. When COVID happened, the entire world shut down. What was everybody's source of escape was watching TV. And your television is driven by people who come from the arts world.
Yeah.
Right? Whether it was TV, whether it was your Netflix or any OTT platform that you were watching films, you were, going on to YouTube, you were learning how to cook, you were learning how to dance, people were taking up music, like singing. I want to learn this because now I have the time to.
Yeah.
And everybody was very like happy
Yeah.
in that sense because people were doing other things apart from like whatever they were normally doing, working, whatever. And everybody valued it only at that point. And then COVID finished, people got back to work, and that value for it went away. And I feel like that is sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you this as well. So you're talking about films, you're talking about theater. So in a city like Bombay, which is so dominant when it comes to films, it's like Bollywood.
Yeah.
And like, the pop culture is pretty strong. Like hip hop culture is growing.
Yeah.
So how does an independent musician, who's a harpist composer, so how do you fill in these shoes? Like, what is the space that you can carve for yourself as an indie musician? And
It's a great question, by the way.
yeah.
The thing is, it is hard to find your niche, especially today in 2025. And I keep saying this, and everybody I think who I speak to regularly has heard me say this one dialogue over and over again is today the industry has become so layered and it's so complex. And I'm talking about only the music industry, especially post-COVID. we have seen it grow exponentially. The number of artists that are there today
Yeah.
was not there in 2019.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody in the independent scene pretty much knew everybody back
Yeah.
then. Now it's like there are
Ye kone?
yeah,
Who's
it's
this?
like
Who's that?
who are these
Who is
artists?
this person playing?
Yeah. Also, the regional industries have always been big, especially like the
Yeah.
Punjabi industry
Yeah.
and the Tamilian industry.
Yeah.
They've become, I mean, they're huge on their own. They don't need, Bollywood money, in my opinion, at all. Especially, I feel like the Tamil industry is anyways doing some fantastic
work,
music.
yeah.
I mean, I would kill to be a part of that.
Yeah.
I think I would also be very humbled because the level of musicianship that we are seeing come from the South is tremendous. And we've always seen that, I feel. Very honestly, we've
Yeah.
always seen
Yeah.
that. I feel like, see, if you carve a niche for yourself, great. But that comes with its challenges.
Yeah. 100%.
Like I said, looking for funding for this piece is the most humbling thing ever, is because you will have certain brands or whatever that will turn to you and say, like, it's a great idea, love the concept, love the narrative, but it's too niche for us. It's too niche for us as a brand.
Wow.
But the same brand will turn to the hip hop community and be
Yeah.
like, this thing. And fair, maybe that's what they're looking for. I'm not going to take away from the
Yeah.
hip hop community. I think they're fantastic. So yeah, I think that's the sort of the gamble that you play. It is mentally very taxing to be, like I said, to be someone who is not in that sense, in that very commercial or sellable space. But something that I've learned over the years, and I very recently told this to a young artist who had put up on Instagram that, like, she's like, I have creative, I have a writer's block right now, and I don't know what should I do. It's very frustrating after putting out like an album that did fairly well, that got recognition, and
Yeah.
she's like, now I can't write. It feels really like, what do I do? And it was so funny because she was posting screenshots of what people were telling her, and there were some people who were like, just keep at it, just keep writing, and I'm just like, and I think I was one of the few people who was like, step away, take that break, it's okay. I said, you've just put out a fantastic album, chill now enjoy that, enjoy it for a bit. If you can't write immediately, it's fine,
Yeah, I think it happens because I remember when we put out As Written in the Stars, that was our very first album.
Yeah.
And the pressure was so much to keep the level at that, because you've already set a standard.
Yes.
And now you are in this space ki you don't know whether you will be able to achieve that standard.
And to be expected to immediately deliver another
that
one, I
yeah.
think that's the problem, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of times from the business side of things, people fail to realize that as artists, when we put out work like this, it is very emotionally heavy. It takes the life out of you. And you're also looking at things technically because you're producing it, you're giving it to someone to mix, master, all of that. So not only have you put in something artistic and beautiful of yourself into this piece of work, but you've looked at it from all angles, and now you've put it out and it's a success and everyone's applauding and it's great. But enjoy it, give yours. And so literally I told her, I said one of my biggest learnings, I think, and I feel like I am slowly getting into that mind space now, is I have stopped running the rat race. I've stepped outside because guess what? Outside the rat race is a lot more liberating than being, because I'll tell you why. And when I say the rat race, I mean the industry that there is today, which let's face it, is gone beyond Bollywood. We are seeing quote unquote indie music make it big globally, not only like from India, but just everywhere. India is now getting some sort of like attention from that perspective. But as someone who attends a lot of these music conferences and are in a lot of these rooms where I get to listen to the industry people talk, and you get to hear the suits talk, is everything my issue is that everything is driven by them. And by them, I mean it's driven by these numbers. Everybody is showing you, oh, but the numbers for this song was this, and for this thing was that, and we made this many millions, and it hit these many millions. I don't think anyone's made millions, honestly, with streaming. Let's face facts: streaming revenue does not give you millions, but they talk about viewership and listenership and all of this, and if you want to do this, you should do this, and at the same time they're telling you, find your community. Where? What is that? Like, my issue with, like I said, with the rat race is that it's all the other people who are trying to dictate what you should do. And when I say that stepping outside of that rat race has been liberating, is because you have to somewhere let go of a few, maybe not, I would say you have to let go of certain visions of how you expected your career to like pan out, because if you have to be in the rat race, there is a lot that you're just playing to an audience. You're playing with what you're constantly thinking about, what other people want or expect from you. And I did ride that boat for a certain amount of time, because I was like, oh, what do people want? What? Cut to, like, I think few years ago, especially I think during COVID, because during COVID I didn't really write at all. I was just like, I just didn't have the mental capacity to do it, because I think COVID was devastating. I think whatever we were seeing was a lot. But I got to think a lot about this, and that's when I just realized that, like, I can't do this anymore, because it's getting to be a lot more depressing. It's getting to, my self-esteem is being like shot down, and as someone who otherwise I feel like I'm okay, but yeah, it's very, for me, stepping out of that rat race and being like, I know I don't have the kind of streaming numbers that a lot of the other artists do. I know that I don't have the kind of following that any other artist does. And saying this as someone who plays a unique instrument, because everybody says, no, if you're someone who's a harpist, I'm sure, like, man, everybody knows who you are. Yes, everybody knows who I am. But do they care? I don't think so. And I think my career has been, is a great example of that, is that everybody likes you till they can use you for a novelty, this thing, and then it's like, it's
wow, that's a like
it's unfortunate. I've made my peace with it. That's also because for me,
but I mean, over time, the constant same experiences would make you stone-hearted in that sense.
And not only that, I feel like, we were just talking about, how you put out an album and then you're playing. Let's face it, in India, we have limited venues to play at. We have limited festivals also. As much as everybody today can be all like, oh yeah, the live music scene in India is so great. Try getting a slot at any of these festivals. There are only so many people I can continue to ask for a slot at a festival anymore. I'm like, what more do you want me to do? Tell me. I'm like, how much more unique of a set can I curate for your stage? Is this constant? Now I'm at a point where I'm like, you don't want?
Fine.
It's okay. Which is why, for me, like, the thing to do a multidisciplinary piece came, because it was just kind of like, what's going to excite me now on stage? If I have to do something like fun, what do I want to do on stage where I'm just like, I want to be a part of this production. Forget me writing it. I'm just like, if I have to do a piece, what do I want to do where I get excited about?
So multidisciplinary, I wanted to ask you, have you ever had like a Nush Lewis collective wherein you have played with drums, bass, guitar?
Yeah. So there's a band that exists.
That's what.
I mean, I've been playing with a band now
because I've seen you solo.
Right. Oh yeah. I don't think you've seen me with the band.
Yeah.
Shame on you. Well. No,
Sorry.
just kidding. Just kidding.
No, that's okay. But so yeah.
Yes, so there is a band. I've, in
Hmm.
fact, since 2000, I think from 2016 or 17 onwards, actually, no, before that itself, I
Hmm.
always had either played with just drums, bass, harp, voice.
Ah.
And then in 2019, so my band was basically Linford D'Souza on drums, Johan Coutinho on bass,
Oh.
and Ariel Masar, who is from Shillong. He was in Bombay at the time. He's a cellist as well. Everybody
Wow.
knows Ariel only as a producer, but Ariel's also a cellist.
Wow.
And a fantastic one at that. So Ariel joined my band in 2019. We did one tour after we released Bridges. The four of us went on like one small South India tour, which was really fun and really nice. Came back, and then, of course, COVID hit. Ariel moved back to Shillong and has been in Shillong ever since. Having said that, on and off, whenever I can do a set with Ariel and the budget is
I love
there,
it, yeah.
I bring him down and we do a set together. Today, the setup is drums, bass, keys, and harp, because I would alternate between keys and harp. And then there just came this one day where I was just like, I wanted to get a keyboardist for two reasons. Number one is so that I don't have to play keys anymore. As much as I love playing keys,
Yeah, yeah.
let me just say, I love playing keys and singing. But when you have a keyboardist who is maybe not the person who wrote the because all the chord progressions have been mine. So now I have I don't know if you know of Hardik. Oh, his name is Hardik Pandya. It's not the cricketer.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not the cricketer. We like to sell it like that. But Hardik is a fantastic producer and keyboardist. And I got him on board because I saw him actually play with Second Sight at Antisocial. And I was like, who's that boy? And he had played with Sachi on her set. And Sachi was like, oh, I know, Hardik, he's played on my set. I'll give you his number, whatever. And then I got to meet him after his gig. And I was like, listen, like, can I get in touch with you? And he was like, yeah, of course. And so when Hardik came on board, the idea was also kind of like, how can I change up some of those keys parts? Not from a progression standpoint, but from a harmony standpoint. And that's when I realized, like, when you work with keyboardists, proper keyboardists, it's like they have a certain way of change. Because for me, my way of playing piano or keys is in a certain style, and I'm very comfortable with that, and I'll continue to do that. But what he does is sort of colors it differently, with still maintaining like the integrity of the song. And the second reason is that there are now some pieces in my set where I don't play the harp and I'm just singing.
Oh.
And as someone who was always a singer first, we do a rewind to like music school. Now I can just sing.
Wow. Yeah.
So that was also very liberating for me, is because till then, firstly, lost confidence in voice, yada, yada, yada. So would fully hide behind the harp, also hide behind the keys. So it was very nice to now have someone play keys where I can just like, now just focus on the feel, focus on the song. And I honestly enjoy it. I really enjoy just singing sometimes.
So, if you had to give up one instrument,
Yo.
like all instruments, and just keep one out of harp, you play multiple instruments. So
I play
which-
only like two this thing. Yeah.
Keep piano and
piano and harp.
and voice. So let's keep these three instruments. Which one would you
Yo.
keep?
Which one would I keep?
And you have to give up all and just keep one. Difficult.
That's a tough one, man. That's a really tough one. But I'm going to keep my voice. I would. Because that's where I came from.
Yeah.
I grew up singing in my house, whether it was with my parents or my family. We were a family that was musical in a sense,
Yeah.
where any dinner party, my uncle would bring the guitar out. We would all sit and sing some old songs together. So I've grown up singing, cut to college in Bangalore, where I joined my college choir. Was a big part. That was a big part of my decision to become a musician. All of that. So yeah, I think I would
the
keep
voice.
my voice, because even today, any chance to go and sing with, like, if Medha has her choir, one day choir happening, I'm there.
Yeah.
I'm just like, yes, because I just want to sing with people.
Yeah.
I love it. I find Vasundhara says singing is a health essential. It really, I truly believe that. It really is. It's medicinal,
Yeah.
and everyone should sing. If people say they
let it out.
yeah, just sing, sing for the sake of singing. It's a beautiful thing to do. It's so healing.
Yes.
So yeah, I would 100%
Keep the voice.
keep the voice. Yeah.
Okay. I want to address the elephant in the room.
Mm.
AI.
Ooh.
So, how, according to you, is it changing the entire scene when it comes to songwriting? When it comes to, like, of course, lyrical help, jamming help,
Right.
so much so that even with few apps that you can replace or like just feed a melody and it'll give you a full-fledged
Yeah,
song,
yeah.
and like, just as ideation, okay, you can go in this route or you can go in this route.
Yeah.
Have you used it ever, or do you plan, or do you are like a purist from that?
So, no, I don't claim to be a purist at all. If anything, I feel like what you just mentioned, those examples that you just mentioned are fantastic, because that is using AI as a tool. Use it as a tool. Use it as a tool to ideate. Use it as a tool to hear what certain ideas that you have in your mind. Sometimes, because when we write something and we like listen to it, whatever, you're not able to separate yourself from it. So maybe use it as a way to kind of be third years into an idea that you thought of maybe over. But I feel like that's the most that it should go to. It should be a tool for you to help you maybe work faster in a sense. And it's not like AI has not existed. I mean, if you look from a production standpoint, half your plugins and all are all it's all intuitive, right? It's intuitive technology.
Has been.
It's always exactly. It has been that for that long. So we've always had it as a tool. I think it needs to continue being a tool. What I have an issue with is your AI generated music that is generating income. That I have an issue with. Because today, and someone had told me this, and very recently during all the music conferences that were going on, was that today there is a what is known as like a dead market or a dead listenership. I think that's what they tagged it as. And what does that mean is that there is AI generated music that are on said streaming platform that is being heard by bots. Therefore, there is and generating income. There is no alive human being that is consuming this music.
Wow.
But the music that is being generated by AI that is owned by certain, certain companies or whatever, they are making money off of it. So it is a dead industry because there is no alive person in
Man,
that.
it's crazy. They have their own community. There are bot farms. They are
Yes.
making music for the bot farms, and they are earning from the bot farms.
Yes.
Crazy.
Yes. And it is wild. And for me, I think that's my issue with AI generated. Any sort of AI generated art that is being sold, it should not be monetized. Because, I mean, like, for that matter, today there is an AI generated film that is being marketed around. I don't know if you've seen hoardings of it.
Yeah.
But I find that ridiculous that when we have a country that is filled with brilliant scriptwriters, directors, right from I'm talking about top level, but even think of like sound dadas.
Yeah.
Your spot boys. Exactly, right? Right? People who work on set, who work very hard in the film industry. You have basically eliminated everybody's job, and they all have a part to play. They all have an artistic part to play. Your makeup artist, your hair artist, all of that.
Yeah.
So my question is, where is the value in that? And how dare you monetize on it? Like, it should not be like the fact that there was that one AI generated band gosh, I forgot what.
Yeah, recently,
I forgot the name of the band, but
mythological or something.
Firstly, ridiculous. Okay, like as if this music does not already exist in India.
Yeah.
We have bands that already do that kind of music, and the fact that they pushed this narrative and they, the kind of marketing that they got done around it. I had a problem with the influencers that took money to even market that kind of work, because I was just like, you can't call this groundbreaking, because it's not. It's not. Also, the fact that you had big music publications that were promoting this band, when real human artists are constantly mailing these publications asking for visibility, asking to be featured, asking for a write-up or a review on their music, they don't get the light of day. But this this virtual band that has been generated because someone put in some like keywords is getting publicity. Come on. Like, where has that, for me, that's the line that I draw. And that also speaks, again, this speaks volumes of the industry that we work in, of the powers that be, the people, the companies with the money. When I was talking about the rat race, unfortunately, these are people from the rat race who are calling the shots, who have made this band, right? And funnily enough, it's the same company that manages real artists. I'm like, how have your artists not turned around and been like, excuse me? They could have put that same money into a real band to... See, ultimately, when it comes to AI and whatever music AI is generating, there is no context behind that music. The context is being set by the keywords that are being fed in.
But so again, I want to emphasize on this. Okay.
Yeah.
You get pittance from streaming.
Yes.
The only way you kind of earn is through live shows.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
If you are generating AI music, promoting it, other than an actual human, how are these people going to generate that much amount of money? So
it's the
like
box.
it's just, I'm just thinking aloud, because you want to tour with the music,
yes,
and then you want to have your revenue, and then you want to and that's how the cycle goes.
Yes.
So if you're putting AI music and you're kind of streaming it, your earnings fine. Say you are earning like 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, X amount for a year, for 2 years, whatever.
Yeah.
But then the major chunk of money or the income that you have is by doing the live shows.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know this. I have no answer to this. Maybe they're gonna get sync licensing.
Yeah, but I mean,
but maybe they'll end up licensing this work to some show or something. But again, this is an answer I don't have. But yeah, it is crazy. Like when someone told me about this, this dead industry, it's called the dead part of the industry, it blew my mind.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I was like, so
but then again, think of it now. If that same company or label or whatever would have put in the same amount of money or hard work in an actual artist on their roster, they would have at least made something back of it.
No, they are all. I feel like they're making money off of whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever they've done, they have made some money off of it for sure. Because otherwise they wouldn't do it.
Yeah, 100%.
That's another thing. Is no big company in the industry would do something if they did not know what returns they were getting off of it, right? Yeah. So either this was a let's see.
Kidhar jata hai.
Yeah, it could have been that. It could be that also. Yeah. Even the fact with this movie that's come out, I'm just how boring it would be to watch. I don't know. Someone said that they did watch it and it lacked complete soul. It's obviously is
amazing. Anything you want to add on top of all of the things that we spoke?
No, I don't know. I think we spoke about so many cool things, but
okay, I want to have a quick round of rapid fire with you.
Okay, let's go.
So, one piece of tech or an instrument or something that you cannot live without in your life.
One piece?
Only one. It can be maybe your laptop, it can be your mic, it can be whatever.
I think my harp.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. What's a sound, not music, just sound in the world that you incredibly find beautiful and inspiring? It's not an instrument.
Not an instrument, just a sound. Uh, the waves,
Yeah?
sound of waves. Yeah.
Okay. Um, who is that one composer or an artist, new or old, you think is a genius in their use of sound and arrangements?
I would say Imogen Heap is still like one of my favorite.
Favorites. Nice.
I think like she was one of the first artists that I heard who was really like doing things differently. And this was like when I was in college, I got to hear Imogen Heap, and I was just so fascinated by her choice of melody, her choice of like the way she uses her voice, her harmonies. I was like, this is crazy. Like, who does this?
Yeah.
Yeah, Imogen Heap.
Okay. Describe your sound in 3 words.
Would be a little dark. With some sprinkles and full feel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So would you rather go for feel or skill?
feel
Yeah.
in a heartbeat any day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you prefer studio or live?
life.
Yeah. Nice. If music was food, what would it be for you?
Oh my God, it would be if music was food, it would be an excellent medu vada.
Medu
It would be an excellent medu vada, a crispy medu vada.
I love it. Love it. Are you a morning person or a night owl?
Morning person.
Yeah?
Yes. I've always been a morning person.
The best city that you have ever performed in?
Oh, best city that I've ever performed in. I think it would still have to. Oh God, I'm going to say 2. So for India, 100%. I think it's still Bombay.
Oh.
For me.
Oh.
Bangalore comes in a close second. But I think Bombay will always be like yeah. I fight to play in Bangalore, but I play more in Bombay. But yeah, Bombay is always special. It's in whichever setting that is. And I had the privilege of playing in Australia in 2023. I went to play the Adelaide Fringe, and it was very interesting because I think everyone expected, they were like, Indian harpist should play Indian music. It was the complete opposite. Also, I think a lot of people thought it would be classical music. So I had a lot of very elderly people in the audience in Australia, which I loved, especially Adelaide. In Melbourne, it was different because it was mostly family and friends. But in Adelaide, I had a lot of older people in the audience, like proper like grandma, grandpas. But they were such fantastic audience members because I was a little worried because I was like, firstly, to them, I'm a young artist. I'm telling some stories of my experiences that I've lived and living in India and all of that. And in that sense, but after every show, they would come slowly with their like walkers and like tell me how they liked this story and how they liked this song. And for me, see, in India, we don't really get to play to an older audience a lot of times. It's very rare that we have an opportunity because a lot of our shows are really late or whatever. I had the privilege of playing some early shows where people have brought their grandparents for my shows, which I love. I love old people, by the way. So for me, Adelaide, some of those shows playing to older audiences, just like they're so cute and they're so encouraging, and I love it. Yeah.
Do you prefer a big music festival stage or an intimate space?
I want to say both because intimate sets are always fun because it's almost like you get to have a conversation with the audience. Everyone is immersed in your set. But a festival stage is a lot, it has its beauty of like just larger audience and bigger sound.
Massive sound.
Yeah, massive sound. it also challenges you as a performer to build your set for a stage like that, which I think is very important. Is that like my set to a intimate audience is one kind of set, but when I'm playing on a larger stage, it's a very different sound. It's a little heavier. It's a little. So also, I feel like artistically, you end up pushing that a little more. Yeah.
Given a choice, what would be the most ridiculous costume that you would play in? Or like outfit?
Most ridiculous.
Like, I don't care who's in the audience. I want to wear this and play today.
I mean, I don't know. I'm actually looking for me the cooler, as long as it's comfortable to play, and I'll play in anything, honestly. So I've always wanted to do like a big dramatic skirt with like maybe lights or something on it. I think that's a vision that I have, and I will do it one day. Where
Nice.
like 100% it'll happen in some like shape of form, but I want to do something really dramatic for sure.
Nice.
I think for me, I know I mentioned like Imogen Heap, this thing, but another artist that I want to also mention, at least from early stages of my this thing, was Florence and the Machine. Also because that was the first time I heard a harp in a used in a contemporary thing. At least it was my first experience of hearing something like that. Yeah, Florence and the Machine, as like, she is someone who is just dramatic writing. I love big sound. I love like big orchestration, big orchestral sound, and she has that. And yeah, so when you said dramatic, wearing something dramatic, I was like, I want to wear something that sounds like Florence and the Machine. Yeah.
Nice. I wanted to ask you, if you have to choose between harp and the piano, what would you go for?
I would go for the tough one again, but I would go for the harp again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I'd be like, piano, you'll keep seeing, no? Keep playing.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true. Amazing. Man, it's been an absolute honor to have you. I've learned so much. I'm guessing I hope our audiences also have learned a bunch of things from this talk. Also, if you've stuck around till here, please do subscribe to Sound Dada, and do follow Nush on all her social platforms. If you want to tell them where you can, when they can.
Just follow Nush Lewis on Instagram and everywhere else, actually. And if you want to know more, get to my website on www.nushlewis.com.
Amazing.
Yeah, but thank you so much for having this conversation. It was so much fun. And like we said, we should just do this more often.
Yeah. Man, like, I mean, these are the times where I feel we connect on one-on-one level, because we have so many backstage, or like the thought is different, the energy is different, the vibe is different, and you're not actually connecting.
Yes.
And
not only that, I think it's very different when you're being interviewed by another artist.
Yeah,
because
that
only
as well.
I think this is where we say only we get what we go through, as musicians, composers, this is what we go through. So it's easier to relate. It's easier for me to convey what I'm trying to say also, like, to you. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for
This was
being
fun.
here, man. Thank you so much. Thanks for watching, and I'm Malay. This is Sound Dada, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.